What's going on, everybody? Jags Money here, another P Plus video after the release has come out and the changelog is revealed. So here I am on the Google Doc for the changelog going from 1.05b, the last version of P Plus to be released, to the new version. If you want to see the full changelog, there will be a link in the description below to the full changelog from 3.6 to Project Plus full release. But for now, I'm just going to be talking about the changes from the last patch to this one, going over the big winners, the big losers, people who decisions I agree with, disagree with, whatever. It'll be a bit longer form video, and it's not scripted, so don't worry. I'm going right off the top here, but don't worry, guys. So let's get moving. First off, bug fixes. I don't want to go over the bug fixes really, though. I do want to mention tether glitch has been fixed. Tether glitch, tele-tether glitch fix. Randall no longer interferes with tethers. That is extremely important to allowing Yoshi's story to be more playable on the stage list. Mario's Cave no longer applies super armor. That's good. Smash and attack stick work properly during crawl. These are all good stuff right here. Change tap jump meteor lockout to trigger on all jump inputs over 0.7 instead of 0.715. Fixing inputs that ignore meteor lockout. All good stuff. So first, I want to go over the general stuff. So these is all from 1.05b to 2.0. Brand new character select screen. I've seen screenshots of it. It looks fantastic. Thank you, Motobug, for those changes. It looks beautiful. Rules menu remade. I need to take a look at that. Screen KOs have been removed during teams. I guess that just means less clutter on the screen. Just because people bouncing off the screen while you're trying to do stuff. Good change all around. Strap screen skipped on Let's Start Up for the net play build. Fine. Character positions during throws have been modified. This sounds a little interesting because this could possibly change follow-ups or change percentages and things like that on certain throws and what they do, because this was a big change in 3.6b was the grab release and positions during grabs being changed that allowed for different things to work or not work. So I don't know if this will be that big of a change. Maybe it's just a quality of life change. I don't know. Holding L or R will select through the fourth costumes. That's been a thing. 3, 2, 1, go countdown, remove single player games. That's fine. Special boss mode. Training mode received new quality of life features. Let me see. New selectable CPU behaviors. This is really good for labbing stuff. Really, really good. Like those changes. That will help me with my guides and stuff. Holding Z when pressing finish on the training mode menu will restart. Will instead restart the stage plus settings. Okay, good. Once again, able to restart the reset to whatever positions you want them to be in. Combo meter is more lenient, so it'll allow for chain grabs and tech chases. That is also really important, so you know if you have a true tech chase, and you can use this to practice your reactions to make sure you're getting true tech chases. So that's actually really, really, really good, because a lot of characters utilize that, and it can be really, really good practice for people. CPUs will now select between 1 of 5 options instead of perfectly random DI to better simulate how it would be with an actual opponent. Really like that when you want to grind against CPUs. Which you know, I do that. It's pretty fun. It's a good little time, but you know, it does make that a little bit more fun to do. Code says systems redone. That's obviously good for modders and coders. Fantastic. Gameplay changes. All right, here we go. Attack stick functions properly. This is a really big change. I don't know if we really want that in the meta of the game. I think this is great for your local scene, for little tournaments where you want to get, tournaments that take place at Ultimate tournaments where people want to get into it, but they don't really want to because they like Tilt Stick. This could be really good for those locals to get people into the game and stuff. In my personal opinion, I really don't think Tilt Stick should be a thing when the game as crouch cancel heavy as this game. There are just too many characters that could utilize CC up tilts that really couldn't before, or much easier than they could before. It really wasn't a thing that people did a lot. Now this could be pretty standard, and I really don't like that with certain characters. It's something we'd have to discuss as a community when it comes to adding that in our actual functional tournaments, allowing people to do that. But I like the addition of having it because it helps people who want to just dabble with the game, helps casual players. I think all of that is fantastic. 2 new seasons. I would like to have maybe an option in the debug menu that would allow you to allow that to be possible. Turn attack stick on or off. So when in a big tournament, you turn it off so that nobody can set it on their tag. When it's a for fun time, when you're playing friendlies, when you're teaching people the game, you could have it on, something like that. 2 new C-stick options. Charge. Holding C-stick will charge smash attacks just like Ultimate. Once again, just same changes kind of like this, getting Ultimate players into PM more comfortably. I'm all for that. Taunt. Each direction on the control stick performs a respective taunt. Don't know how many people utilize that, but hey, who knows. Item throw data normalization. I have heard about this, so I kind of know what's going on here. With the first 2, they're normalizing it. I'm perfectly okay with that. Special exceptions apply to characters that spawn their own items, such as Wario and Mr. Game & Watch, as well as Wario and Mr. Game & Watch, who throw on frame 12 and ISA frame 20. Okay. All running item throws are now actionable twice as fast. Okay. In-game timer now displays frames instead of centiseconds. Okay, pretty cool. I like that. Characters will no longer drop items when hit. Once again, not a huge change. Tech rolls now conserve momentum like melee. Big change here. You will notice this if you've played PM a lot. You will notice some of this change right here. This will allow like more OMS attacks and things like that to be more possible, as well as kind of stopping some of the weird sliding going on. So that should be good. Shield rolling now conserves momentum. I'm not sure what this would really affect. It more just seems like a quality of life change. Don't know how many times this really affects anything. Grabbing ledge now halts all momentum. Odd. I didn't know it didn't do that. ECB now properly updates upon grabbing the ledge. Okay, good. Using normal get up from ledges not trigger the ledge regrab lockout timer. Once again, good change. Characters can no longer trip during throws. Good. And UCF style shield dropping has been added. Really good. Power shield damage multiplier. This was in the last patch. I like the idea of not losing. I kind of thought it was weird that you would lose damage on what you reflected when you perfect shielded something, because you perfect shielded a projectile. You should be rewarded for that. I didn't like the idea of losing damage on it. I don't like the idea of it being reflected and gaining damage like you see in Ultima, where people take 300 damage from an arrow that got reflected a few times. I think that's kind of jank. But I do like the fact that you get a little bit more rewarded for power shielding big projectiles that are riskier to reflect, such as like a charge shot or something along those lines that's a little bit riskier to power shield. I think you should get rewarded for that. Footstool knockback has been normalized for all characters. All characters will fall 30 units before being actionable. The number of frames spent inactionable when footstools varies depending on fall speed. I like that, because that means so if you're a fast faller, you're not going to get screwed as hard by footstool edge guards, which, characters that really, really edge guard via footstool, such as Sonic, are going to get nerfed by that, of course. But characters that should still get gimped by it will still probably get gimped by it, like DK. Characters can no longer be footstooled out of glide attacks. Okay, that seems like a buff to characters like Charizard and Pit. Characters can now drift when hit stun prematurely ends. Okay. Shield button when tripped goes into get up, so that's good. So you won't get randomly tech locked out when you trip. Glancing blow threshold is 0. So yeah, I thought that was the case anyway. Window to wiggle out of tumble extended from 1 frame to 2, like that as well. Makes that a little bit easier. Initiating a shield drop the same frame as a hard shield no longer causes wavelands. Okay, good. Okay, that's also a thing as well. That I knew that was a thing too. I'm glad that that's gone. All get up attacks and ledge attacks no longer clank. I thought, yeah, I have seen that actually. That's good as well. Negative Y speed from angle 365 attacks. I don't really know what that means. Ledge occupancy of ledge rolls under 100 increase, so that's good. Makes those a little bit safer, because you really never see those all that much. People don't really do them because they're so unsafe. So adding a little bit more intangibility is good. Maximum distance behind that a character can be grabbed from cap to negative 6.5 units. So semi-serial carriers now use the same variables as normal gameplay. I would need to hear exactly what that necessarily means. Slow-mo with the timer item properly processes knockback in slow-mo. That just fixed to casual mode. Stickers no longer drop in versus mode. Once again, good. Those are just a little bit more annoying. Bomb rain when wild mode. We saw those in the trailer, so just go check out the trailer if you want to see that. But let me see some of these extra things. 12 times faster. Try it out with chaotic stages such as Summit, WarioWare, hold Y to get the constant mini games, Lilac Cruise, and Spear Pillar with a truly wild experience. Okay, so just a for fun game mode. Things 12 times faster. That's crazy. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty of the changes. First off, we're going to get to Bowser. Everyone expected big nerfs from Bowser after he single-handedly won a major in the hands of Malachi. So let's see what we got here. The landing hitbox of up smash. The active frames went from, looks like 22 to 4 to 2. So they cut it in half, but they upped the IAS, the actionable as soon as frames. Doesn't seem like too big of a change. The up smash is, it'll help with some of the gimmicky stuff that you can do with landing hit a down smash or with up smash, but up smash is still going to be a really good move, and the ISA is just going to help that. Up throw, knockback growth was upped, so I think that means at higher percents that will allow for a little bit less follow-ups, but I think he'll still get all the low percentage stuff that he got before. So, and then once again, he shouldn't, he doesn't really get you to the higher percentage anyway. He's pretty good at ending stocks. He is Bowser after all. He kills pretty early, so I don't know how much that's going to affect him, all honestly. If someone could explain that to me a little bit better as to what that's supposed to do or what that ends up doing to Bowser, I would like to hear it, but it doesn't seem like too big of a change for a character like Bowser. And the fireball went to 13 seconds. In my opinion, the charge time was only part of the problem. I think the damage that it did and how fast it traveled was a little bit of the problem. I know they slowed it down, but I kind of thought they should slow it down just a little bit more, just so it's not super spammable in neutral. though it would hurt its combo game, but I honestly don't really think that's that big of a problem. But honestly, I guess they've tested this a little bit more than I could think about it, but I didn't think the charge time was the only problem about Fireball. So, this isn't too bad, actually. I think Bowser will still be in the upper mid-tier, if not low-high tier, that people have had him in for the last couple of months. And he definitely is still an extremely viable character. This isn't that these nerfs don't seem that big at all. Everyone was expecting him to get absolutely gutted after Blacklisted 5, but it does not seem to be the case. He seems like he's perfectly fine. Moving on to Captain Falcon. Down special, knockback stacks lowered, strong, middle, and weak. So let's see this. So base knockback went to 40. So lower base knockback, knockback growth went up, it looks like, in each category. So it looks like a net neutral change. Fixed a bug that caused down B and side B to ignore wall interactions when B reversed. All right. Once again, quality of life changes. Captain Falcon, once again, a lot of people complaining about Captain Falcon needing nerfs. He did not receive pretty much any. And definitely people were not really complaining about Falcon Kick being that strong. So once again, these just seem like quality of life changes to Captain Falcon and just making him a little bit more, consistent. Charizard, this is a character that people really wanted to hear about and people wanted to see get changed. So let's see, attributes, gravity increased, so he falls a little bit faster, making him a little bit more comboable. Thank you, the Lord. Fall speed increased as well. Jumps and footstool hops have been modified to maintain their original height, so that's good. He'll still feel pretty much the same to play in terms of how he moves around, but to combo and do stuff like that, he will be a little bit more consistently able to be comboed for how great his recovery is and how heavy he is. Up tilt, given wing intangibility. I like this because up tilt is kind of a useless move in Charizard's kit. Not to say you can't use it, but up smash honestly gets the job done so much better because up tilt was just so small and it wasn't that fast and just wasn't that great of a move. So giving it some intangibility might make it a little bit more useful and give it a little bit more utility. Forward smash, active hitbox, push back 3 frames. That move is so big and it hits from behind and all that good stuff that I am perfectly fine with them making that move a little bit slower. Because, like I said, it's huge and it was deceptively fast. So I'm glad that they have moved it back a little bit. Neutral air reverted. The Charizard mains will rejoice. Their broken move is back to being broken. All jokes aside, that's pretty good. I think a lot of the Charizards were really, really not liking the change to Nair, and now that it is the same, they will be back on the hype train. Back air, strong hit, active frames reverted 3.6. Once again, good for the Charizard mains. Sweet spot given to late hit plus 2% damage on tip of tail. So that's also good. So they have buffed back air sweet spot. They have reverted it back to 3.6 and then buffed the sweet spot. So that is a big nerf that is a big buff to Charizard and his back air. Down air, they made the damage a little bit lower. I think that's fine. I don't think Charizard mains are going to be complaining about losing 2% damage on their down air. Knockback's still the same, so it'll still lead into all the combos they like, their up Bs and their glide side Bs and all that good stuff. Neutral special, flamethrower. So let me see. Now Thunder Punch. Grounded damage, 18% sends at Sakurai angle. After 6 frames, damage is reduced to 14. Okay. Aerial damage is 15%, and the ground landing damage is 10%. So hitting them in the air with it is going to be huge. It sends at a 55-degree angle. Holy moly. That sounds really, really good. This move seems like it's going to be... I know that it's not able to be edge canceled, I believe. They did some stuff with that, so it can't be edge canceled or anything like that, which kind of loses a little bit of the utility, but it may be good for finishing off some combos. I kind of want to see what the Charizards do with this move. Something new that they can work with, and the fact that it lets them keep the step back ledge grab will keep it the same utility it had before. I think this is a net neutral buff to Charizard. And once people start labbing it and getting it down, I think this will be a net buff. For now, it might be a net nerf because of the loss of Flamethrower that all the Charizards already kind of know how to utilize. But with new Thunder Punch, I think this will be a net buff in the future once it's all figured out. Down special, the Glide refreshes on all landings. That's good. And GFX appear to signify that Glide is ending. Once again, good visual indicators, and refreshing on all landings is a good quality of life change. And once again, a buff to Charizard. Ledge options normalized to have similar ISA Breathless Cast. He should have had that already, but that will end up being a net buff to him. And Windbox-like hitboxes on up throw are removed, corrected an error in the flags that prevented these hitboxes from being blocked. So once again, removing a little bit of jank from his kit shouldn't really affect too much when it comes to a throw. It will only really affect doubles or casual play, so not a huge thing there. But honestly, I would say Charizard came out really, really good. I would say he is definitely one of the winners of this patch. He came out pretty damn good in all intents and purposes. Once again, has a new move, so you might see a lot of people picking up Charizard to experiment with him and to utilize this new Thunder Punch move. So all in all, I think Charizard comes out a pretty big winner. Moving on to DDD, run speed was up, so he's a little bit faster, a net buff. Jab startups have been sped up, and the multi-jab damage was lowered. I think that is, in general, a net buff. I don't think DDDs are going to be complaining too much about the jab doing not enough damage. That's not really what it's used for. It's used as a get-off-me tool. It's used for spacing and leading into grab after jab, jab, grab. Forward tilt animation modified slightly to better indicate where the hitboxes end. I like these kinds of changes. Visual indicator changes that let you know what's going on properly are always going to be welcome in my book. That may be a net nerf to DDD because it makes it a little bit easier to counterplay it, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's that big a deal. Up tilt and tangibility match active hitboxes. So once again, it's intangibility and up tilt makes up tilt that much better. Once again, a net buff to DDD. Down tilt, startup 7, so they made it a little bit faster. Weak kick active frames were lowered. So once again, I think this is probably a... it's hard to say if it's a net buff or a neutral change because the weak hit active frames will make it a little bit worse at catching recoveries. There is a more likely chance you will miss the recovery with your down tilt if you mistime it. But with the extra startup and the less frames of IASA, that'll be a little bit better. Startup, so forward smash, it made it a little bit faster and added a hitbox to address the dead zone near his hands. So F smash just got buffed, and that move is kind of crazy, actually. It's huge. It's great at edgeguard and making people respect his F smash because it pretty much insta-kills you if he times it right and you don't sweet spot the ledge. It can also spike, all that good stuff. So once again, this is a net buff to his forward smash. Up smash, knockback growth lowered, so up smash is a little bit worse, it looks like. It will kill a little bit later. Well, let me see. Knockback growth, 79, 80, 83, 84. No, it's actually, so knockback growth will be better. Sorry, I misread that. It'll be better, meaning it will kill a little bit earlier. Up smash was not a huge kill move anyway, so making it a little bit better at doing that job will be pretty welcome to DDD mains, I think. I really only saw it used to like up throw up smash or to catch people on platforms. It never really was used as a kill move, so I think that'll be fine. Down smash modified to hit slightly lower. I think this is just so that it's a little bit weirder to. It's not as, you're not as likely to like get around it. It'll just be a little bit easier to hit them. Which once again, down smash is not one of the best moves in his kit, so not a huge deal. Nair startup, they made Nair a little bit faster, so that's a buff to that. Late auto cancel window begins earlier, so this is a big buff to one of DDD's best aerials. DDD has a lot of great aerials, but Nair is one of the only ones he can use really, really fast to get someone off of him, and it's huge. And it combos a lot of good stuff with Nair, so it has been buffed. Forward air fixed the Zen Zone by adding a new flub hitbox on his body, so it makes it a little bit more consistent to edgeguard people because once again, a lot of times fair is used as a edgeguard tool, so it only takes that flub hitbox sometimes to get the kill, and that honestly is a pretty big buff. Adjusted the animation slightly to prevent landing during startup. This seems just like a quality of life change, but at the end of the day, it seems pretty good. Back air IASA, not a huge change, still probably be just as useful as before. Grab fixed dead zone on standing grab and dash grab by pulling in the innermost grab boxes. So it seems like a net buff to his grab, fixing the dead zone. Dash grab adjusts size to offsets to no longer be profile. That's also a big change. Not going to be ducked under by characters like Game & Watch and Kirby as much. Up throw release point adjusted to be directly above him. I think that may be a net buff, but I could be wrong. The DDDs will have to tell me, but that sounds like a net buff. And side special, the Gordo damage does a little bit less. I think that is perfectly acceptable. I don't think it's too big of a deal. So all in all, I'd say DDD also comes out a pretty big winner. I don't think he will move too far up the tier list just because I don't think his kit is all that strong. But I think that good DDDs who are already solid players will find a little bit more success with him with these changes. So all in all, I think he comes out a decent winner in this patch. So Diddy Kong, forward smash frames between hitboxes is 4 to 3. That's good. So less time for you to ASDI down shield the second hit or something weird like that. Makes it a little bit more consistent. So that's a buff to his forward smash. Up smash, final hit base knockback was lowered, but the knockback growth was upped. So that will make it a little bit easier to kill. That's the biggest problem DDD has, or Diddy Kong has, is killing, finishing his stocks. So adding a little bit more knockback growth to up smash will make it a little bit more consistent at doing that. Side special monkey flip can no longer be mashed out of. That's a big change as well. Even if you know the monkey flip is coming, people could mash out of it really quickly, and then he gets nothing. So this just makes it a little bit better in terms of getting punishes off of his successful monkey flip, which is a pretty big commitment as is. So I kind of like this change. Up special rocket boost, they added landing lag. Perfect. I always thought it was weird that it had like no landing lag. Giving it the standard 30 that you see Martha, Falcon, and Sheik get, I think is perfectly acceptable. Though it is a slight nerf, can now be turned around. Oh wow, okay. And the barrels no longer clank. So this seems like a net neutral change. This may be a little bit bigger than the changes to make up for it, but all in all, I think this is a net neutral change to make it a little bit easier to punish it when you do dodge all the other stuff and do call it out properly and let him land. but it makes it a little bit harder because now he can turn around during startup, and the barrels can no longer clank, so they will actually hit you, and you cannot just clank them. Other dash attack and down B hand slap no longer stale together. Okay, I didn't even know that was a thing, so I don't think that's going to be too big of a problem or too big of a change, but a little bit is still fine. So Diddy, I think he comes out fine. Gets a couple of buffs here for forward smash, up smash, and side special. Gets a net neutral change to rocket barrel boost, and gets this fix right here. So I think he's doing perfectly fine. I think Diddy Kong players will feel just as comfortable as they did before. Donkey Kong back air, additional hitbox been added to prevent the knee from whiffing. Net buff to the back air. Up air damage was lowered, knockback compensated, so it'll just mean so up air strings do a little bit less damage, which will add up. So you may, after 5 up airs, you will have taken 10 less damage than before, which is a big deal. So that's a big nerf there, but the knockback is compensated. So when it comes to cargo up throw up air kills, that will be pretty much exactly the same. So all in all, I think DKs won't be, it is a slight nerf to DK's combo damage, but I don't think that's really anything he was lacking in the first place, so I think he'll still be fine. The big grab buff he got here will make this will make it even more consistent that you even get the up air string started. Cargo hold made easier to mash out of, which I think is fine, because it does reset your mashing when he cargoes you, so I think that is a good nerf. Damage from breaking removed, so that's also good. I don't know why you took 6% from breaking out of cargo. You literally just take damage for successfully breaking out of cargo. So once again, these are good nerfs. I don't think DKs are going to be complaining about these too much. Everyone has to deal with grabs getting mashed out of, and everyone else has to deal with them taking damage when they get when they get out of your grab. So if you're complaining about that, honestly, everyone has to deal with this. Get used to it. Neutral special, giant punch. Hitboxes that launch vertically now match Sakurai angle hitboxes. All right, so it looks like they send it a Sakurai angle now instead of straight up. That makes it a little bit less often that you'll get the janky shoulder punches off the top at like 70. And the tiny body hitbox removed. They removed the dong hitbox. What the... Okay, jokes aside, in all honesty, I don't think anyone's going to be complaining that they removed the dong hitbox. I think it was funny. I think they added it as a meme. But I think taking away hitboxes from Punch will never be unacceptable, in my opinion. I think that move is just even still extremely good. Kind of wish they kept the dong hitbox for the meme's sake, but all in all, not really that bad. Okay, so grounded punch, non-full charge. They upped the base knockback and lowered the knockback growth of non-full charge punch. And full charge damage, they lowered it and upped the base knockback. So once again, a slight nerf to grounded punch, but all in all, not too bad. Aerial punch, full charge knockback was upped. Base knockback growth lowered pretty significantly. And full charge damage was lowered by 2. Base knockback up, knockback growth lowered. Intangibility removed from full charge punch, replaced with intangibility on fist only. I like this change a lot. Once again, this makes it so, makes it a little bit easier to punish and makes it so it's not as ridiculously safe, which is perfectly fine. It is a super move after all. If you get hard called out, you should be punished. And even now, it's still really, really hard to punish. It's pretty much not punishable on block, so it's still pretty damn strong, even defensively. You get a little bit less damage from it, which I think is perfectly fine. You're still getting 25 to 26 damage from a punch, and it will kill a little bit later. But in all honesty, the combo works for so long that I don't think it's not gonna be that big a deal. Now, couple the fact that he needs to get you to higher percent with the fact that up air strings do a little bit less damage. This will be a overall net nerf to DK, but we'll see. Up special, angle on aerial looping hitboxes changed from Sakurai angles to 45. I don't know if this will make it easier or harder to ASDI out of that or what, but we'll see. Dash attack now scales properly. Once again, it already should have. Grab release properly faces opponent away from DK out of the cargo throw. I'm glad that works normally. Cargo throw decays naturally, so it doesn't necessitate mashing. Okay, so that's good. So all in all, I think DK comes out a little bit of a loser in this patch. He does come out a little bit weaker with the less damage on up air strings, coupled with the nerfs to cargo throw and the nerfs to punch. I think he will come out a slight loser in this, but with the buffs to back air and the buff to his grab, I think that he comes out still looking pretty strong, and I still think he will be an extremely good character in the meta of P+, no matter what really happens in this case. And especially with the new down B, he has even more options. So all in all, I think he's still a great character, and I think he's still going to win a lot of the matchups he already won, but he may struggle a little bit in the matchups he was already struggling in, and he may do a little bit worse in some of those even matchups, but by how much is obviously yet to be seen. So we'll see. Falco. Okay, Falco, so they added a little bit of landing lag to his up B as a compensation for the fact that he now has the Fox-esque hitboxes on the Firebird. I think this is perfectly fine. It wasn't necessary, I don't think, seeing as Falco's recovery is pretty bad is pretty lackluster in terms of range, so I don't think this is going to do too much, and even then, I think a lot of combos that he got from hitting Firebird will still work with the 7 frames of landing lag instead of 3, so I don't think it's that big of a problem. To Falco players, it will be a little bit harder to get used to. They will try to move a little bit quicker than they're allowed to, so this will involve a little bit of practice from you Falco mains out there to get that used to, but for all in all, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And Dacus normalized for both the frames. I did know that on each frame of Dacus, which there's 2 frames of it, there was different distances. This just makes it more consistent. So all in all, I would call this a very, very slight buff. All in all, I think Falco comes out fine. I don't think this is that big a deal. I think he's still just as viable as he was before. Fox, down air damage lowered from 3 to 2 to 2 to 2, so it'll always do 2 damage on each hit. And side special illusion, the grab box added from frame 15 to 20. So a slight buff to Fox Illusion and a slight nerf to down air's damage. Still just as good as he was before. All of his strengths are still there. Not a big deal. Honestly, if you played Fox before, this is pretty much nothing. Maybe this will help you a little bit, but honestly, I wouldn't even think too much about the down air damage. Ganondorf. They upped his run speed and they upped his walk acceleration, so he's a little bit better in terms of speed. That was always one of his biggest problems. Forward smash, give a new animation. I want to see that. Linking hit removed. Knockback stats match to stronger hitbox. So the linking hit, I guess this is something that was messing up some of the consistencies with the hitbox. So that's good. Down tilt startup was made a little bit better. So down tilt got a slight nerf, and down smash hit slightly lower. I think this will fix a few of the weird scenarios you would have with down smash, some of the few weird interactions you would have with that move. So hopefully that fixes the weird, like, get hit by the first hit and get flung down to the blast zone by not getting hit by the second hit. Hopefully that fixes that. So let's see, Nair auto cancel frame moved back to 24 and no longer reels back. So this seems like a slight nerf to Nair. That was honestly his best neutral aerial when it came to spacing out his opponent, maybe besides back air. Standing grab, animation slightly modified to give Ganon more horizontal range. That's all good. I think he deserved a grab buff after losing his dribble, aka his pretty damn good chain grab. So all in all, I think this is a decent, this is a deserved buff, I think. Grab, outer grab box, the Y outside. So basically, this made it bigger. That's good. Dash grab, boost grab distance made consistent on each frame. Once again, just consistency and boost grab that obviously helps him getting grabs and getting openings because he has lost the ability to basically kill you off of a grab. He does need more ways to get in on you, and buffing his grab is definitely going to help. Neutral special, aerial flow to ISA, they just made it a little bit better. So that is also extremely good, helping him out in neutral. They seem like mostly neutral changes, helping him out in neutral and able to fight most characters on the ground, because that was always his biggest problem. Neutral special with cape, hitbox rework to hit notably lower, and knockback stats lowered to cause a true jab reset. So that's actually really, really good. If I see some crazy cape jab resets, I'm going to be popping off. Up special, start up slightly faster, first active frame on frame 10, and the ISA on throw sped up from 61 to 52 on throw speed? On throw? I'm confused on what throw. Does it mean like when he hits you with the up B on how fast he can act out of the up B after he explodes or whatever? So that's good. So once again, some pretty much big buffs to Ganondorf. I think he comes out a pretty damn good character at the end of this. Hopefully these changes add up to him moving up a little bit in the tier list and him feeling a little bit better, because he did feel pretty bad in P+. I'm not going to lie, in the previous version. This should make up for him, allow him to play a little bit better neutral, and allow him to compete on the ground a little bit better with most of the other cast. So Ice Climbers, this is not a huge change list, actually. Popo Spike hitbox base knockback was upped and knockback growth was lowered, and the Nana Spike hitbox damage was lowered to 9 and was lowered. So this Popo Spike was made a little bit better, and the Nana Spike was made a little bit worse. Not sure what that means for Ice Climbers in terms of their viability and in terms of the fair spike finisher for their chain grab, but seems like it was a slight nerf to the setup. But I guess that means that you're more rewarded for Popo doing the spike and not Nana. I'm not quite sure how it'll work out. Please leave a comment and explain to me the effects you think this is going to have on Ice Climbers. Side special no longer acts as a break, so that's pretty good. So it may be a net nerf in terms of that, but I think that makes it a little bit less weird. Down special, damage knockback size and angle made uniform, so that's consistency is always good. So I would call that a slight buff. And Nana will not read inputs first 2 frames of sliding off, so this seems like a buff because Nana will do weird stuff less. That's good. If Popo is grounded and Nana is aerial, Nana will never auto turn around. That seems also like it might be pretty good. That might be something that Ice Climbers complained about, and so I'm glad that got fixed. If Popo is either holding an opponent in grab, pummeling, or throwing an item, Nana will not auto turn around unless she is in wait. This seems like, once again, some weird interaction that Ice Climbers had, so I'm glad that's getting fixed. Z-syncing window increased from 1 to 3. Z-syncing. Please explain to me what Z-syncing is. And Nana made intangible on frame 1 of side B in order to prevent the fusion glitch. Okay, good. Once again, fixing glitches, all in good stuff. So, Ike. I want to see what they do to Ike here. He was a character that really shot up after P Plus came out. So, kind of want to see what goes on here. So, let's see. Lowered his weight. This will help kill him a little bit earlier, as well as make it a little bit quicker to act out of your throws when you're throwing him, because the weight lowers the amount of frames after the grab ends that you can act out of it. So this will be a slight nerf to Ike in pretty much all regards. Neutral special, Eruption no longer has armor on uncharged version. This is good because it was really, really hard for a lot of characters to deal with Ike coming down with Eruption. I don't even know how you dealt with it, honestly. Unless you had a big disjoint, I don't really know how you deal with that. But now it is not armor, so now it won't just beat you. You can actually stuff it, which is good. Up special on Aether, lowered the initial hit-based knockback. This seems like it just makes it so that there's less weird interactions going on with the first hit of Aether, which had a lot of weird stuff that I've seen go on with that. And just a little prepare yourself Easter egg moved earlier, so that's fine. Ike seems like these are decent nerfs, I would say, to Ike. So I would think he's going to be a little bit lower, but I don't think it's going to be too big a deal. All of his tools are still there. Besides the Eruption coming down, he is going to struggle a little bit when it comes to coming down now, which I think is a thing he should have been struggling from the get-go. He shouldn't have a get-out-of-jail-free card like Uncharged Eruption. So he will be punished a little bit more when you get above him. This will help. This will make Falcon even harder to deal with, but it'll help a lot of characters who that's more like their only strength is to keep Ike up in the air, and they just get pooped on in every other area. So that'll help Ike and counterplaying Ike a little bit easier, but he still has all those great tools that everyone likes, so Ike players shouldn't be too upset about these changes. Ivysaur down tilt. Okay, let's see. Innermost hitbox size on the second hit reduced. So down tilt's still just as good as it was before. They just made it a little bit easier to whiff on the inside hitbox if you completely misspace this down tilt. But full space should still be just as crazy good as it was before. Forward smash inner angle on the hitbox, so it made the angle a little bit nicer. Active frames upped. So they nerfed the angle. They buffed the active frames, and it's clankable now. So this is I'd say close to a neutral change. The extra active frame isn't going to be too big a deal, but the angle change and the clankability will be a pretty big deal, I think. So I think this is an overall nerf. Up smash now charges heals for all 7 active frames. I didn't know it didn't do that, so honestly, I would say that. And let's just talk about the weak hitbox. I guess not the weak hitbox, but I guess it means like the strong hitbox. I guess some of them, not all of them, charged and healed. So slight buff, just more consistency. Back throw, they nerfed the base knockback and upped the knockback growth, so it'll make it a little bit easier to make it an actual kill throw. But it will be a little bit worse as a GIMP setup tool, because that's like one of his biggest strengths is GIMP setups, because of Tether being a 2-frame reel up. So him being having a little harder time to set it up just because back throwing people off the stage, make that a little bit harder to do and give you more options to get out of that scenario at low percent. Down special, explosive hit active frames, that's fine because Seed Bomb was a little janky, so making it a little bit more difficult to hit on that explosion is good. It'll still make it just as good as it was before when it comes to juggling people up in the air with it. So I don't think it's going to be too big of a problem. And no longer heals charges on Pikmin/Waddles. Didn't know it already did that, so that's also a good nerf that he kind of deserved. Jigglypuff, let's see what they do to Jigglypuff. Let me go back to Ivysaur. I think Ivysaur comes out of this still looking fantastic. I still think Ivysaur is coming out of this patch looking pretty good for all intents and purposes. I don't think she comes out a big winner or a big loser, but she comes out still looking like a decent character, still looking like she's definitely one of the better characters in the game, in my opinion. So Jigglypuff, Jab 2, base knockback upped and knockback growth upped, sound effects modifier and match power change. So is it like really strong now? That knockback growth is huge. So does her jabs actually like do something? I need to look at this. This seems really weird. They upped the knockback, base knockback, and the knockback growth of Jab 2. So does it like knock you away pretty far? I don't know, man. That seems really crazy. That might be a pretty damn good buff. Really weird buff, but a good one. Consumes all but one jump, so if you use rollout, you'll have a jump. Consumes no jumps when used on the ground. Okay, so once again, this is the same buff that we saw before to rollout. I'd say Jigglypuff comes out better than before, but her weaknesses are still there. This doesn't really fix those weaknesses. The jab might allow her to get some of those faster characters off of her a little bit better with a wake up Jab 2, but you're still going to see the problem that Jigglypuff has before, where her big strength in melee being able to edgeguard people super well is just not the same. Too many characters' recoveries are just too good, and they can contest it a little bit too well to make Jigglypuff's biggest strength matter. So, I don't know. I just don't really see Puff coming into the meta all that hard after this. Still, maybe a little bit better, more playable, but I just don't see these changes being that big. So, Kirby, up air, startup reduce, so that's going to be a pretty decent buff. Still the same power, just faster, so big buff there. Up throw knockback growth, up, so this will mean maybe some more combo potential at lower percents and some better kill potential at higher percents. And the down special, the new down special, stone and slide kick. When grounded, down plus special will now perform the slide attack. This is all that stuff. I've played with this character a little bit and tried the down special. It doesn't seem super good. There may be some like jank confirms you can get off it on weird DIs, but it doesn't seem like the best move in the world. I think you honestly might be better off using a spaced down tilt in most cases. And many Kirby cats have been updated, so that's good. Dash attack and cutter dash no longer stale together. I didn't know they did that anyway, so that's a good change. Arrow down special will now hit enemies in subspace necessary. Okay, good. So, all in all, I think Kirby comes out of this looking pretty good. That up air buff is pretty good, and up throw might be a little bit more better. It might be better as a kill throw now, because I know that's what they were trying to make it into. I don't think the slide kick is all that good, so I would say it's not a nerf because it actually is a useful move now on the ground, but it's not super great. I don't think it's really going to be used all that much. Because of how it bounces away after it hits you, I don't see too many confirms you can have off that unless they make the IESA a little bit different. And then these not sealing together will be a slight buff, I guess. So we'll say Kirby came out pretty good. I wouldn't say he's a huge winner, but he's pretty good. Link, he had a lot of changes in the last patch, so this just, it looks like just preventing bugs and Dacus made consistent. So, looks like they like how Link turned out and they're not changing him too much. Lucario, okay, they lowered his weight. I did think he was a little bit weirdly heavy. I thought he would be a little bit lighter for how floaty he kind of is. He's not super, I wouldn't say he's floaty. He's not floaty, but I did think he would weigh a little bit less, so this will make it a little bit more comfortable to play against. And then Aura Charge requirement per level. They upped the Aura Charge requirement, so I think that seems like a little bit of a nerf. Unless I'm misreading this, it seems like it requires more Aura. It requires more to charge to get an Aura Charge. So, it seems like they did nerf how often you get Aura Charges. So that seems like it's decent nerf, actually. Back air sour spot angle was made Sakura angle instead of this weird 60-degree angle. Seems fine to me. Maybe he can actually do weak back air and a strong back air. I don't know. That seems interesting. And the neutral special, the Aura Sphere, requires releasing B to shoot the Aura Sphere, allowing Aura Sphere cancels when fully charged. Ooh, okay, this is big. This is big. So that means you can actually get a full charge Aura Sphere and still get Aura cancels off of it. You had to give it up before, and now you don't. That's a pretty big buff, actually. We'll require a little bit of muscle memory from Lucario mains to maybe learn how to do this with how to input this a little bit more consistently and do it differently than what they're used to. But in all, I think this is pretty good and makes him a little bit more consistent in terms of his combo game, whether he has a full charged Aura Sphere or not. Side special, aerial throws, force palm, aerial throw base knockback. They lowered the base knockback on the aerial throw, so it means that it is a little bit weaker at lower percents, and fixed the bug where Lucario could waste aura upon landing with side special throw. So that's a big buff as well. This seems like a slight nerf here, make it a little bit less effective at lower percents, but they fixed the bug here. That might make it a little bit more consistent, and obviously bug fixes are always welcome. Up special, extreme speed. Landing lag when ending on ground was up, so that's good. And final hit always sends in the direction Lucario is facing. That makes it a little bit more consistent to DI it and for Lucario to know which way you're going. I think this is a slight nerf, but this part right here helps a little bit. Let's say you hit them with it, it allows you to know which way to start running as soon as you're done, so you can know how to tech chase him. So not too bad. I think all in all, he might come out a little bit weaker, but this change right here I think is huge. I think this is a huge change. So all in all, I think his numbers have gone down, but I think this will be huge in making him a little bit more consistent at all states of the game, allowing him to have an Aura Sphere charge and still continue the Aura Sphere combos, the Aura cancels that we all like. So all in all, slight loser, but all in all, comes out with that nice change. So Lucas, jab 2, first active frame was buffed, so he gets a slight buff on the jabs. Neutral air, increased size hitbox on Nair. That's a pretty big buff, actually. Back air ISA was lowered. That's also pretty good, since that makes it a little bit earlier that you can act out of back air. Down air damage was lowered. That's a pretty big nerf. He's going to be a little bit less damage when he steps on the beach. So that is going to affect a lot of his big damage for newer Lucas players who really just know downer, downer, downer. Now you have to work a little bit harder to get your damage, but I don't think this is going to affect too much of the upper level Lucases. I think they'll still be fine. Spied Special, PK Freeze, Aerial Velocity was upped, Hit Lag Multiplier was lowered, and Landing Lag was lowered. This is a pretty big buff to PK Freeze, the move going quicker, and the lag being lower by 1 frame is all good. All good for Lucas. Up Special, Initial Hit Damage was lowered, and Repeating Hit Damage was lowered, so you get punished a little bit less for getting hit by this. And Lucas can reverse Ledge Grab for 10 extra frames. That's also good. So a slight nerf here, but a pretty big buff here. And Down Special, Release Hit Damage was lowered. Initial SDI Multiplier from 1.0 to 0. Interesting. So it has 0 SDI Multiplier. Looping hitboxes no longer cause knockback. That's good. And Initial Hit Lag lowered. So Magnet... So they reduce a little bit of damage, but this... I don't know what the implications of this are. This could be really, really, really good for Lucas or... unchanged. I'm not quite sure. Looping hitboxes no longer cause knockback. This could also be good for Lucas or bad. I'm not quite sure. This could be a really big buff or not that effective. I'm not quite sure, but one of the two. So I would say Lucas comes out a big winner. These are crazy Lucas changes. These are all buffs except for this, but this is a net neutral change anyway because it does less damage, but you can now reverse ledge grab way easier. I would say all in all, Lucas comes out a huge winner in P plus 2.0. Luigi just gets one change, gets the grounded version, increased aerial drift. So if he misses or hits this, he can now edge cancel a little bit easier, it looks like, with the increased velocity, so that's good. The slightest of buffs for Luigi, but all in all, he's pretty much the same. Interesting that they wouldn't try to buff him, given that most people think he's like lower mid-tier, but, you know, it is what it is. Mario F Smash, Dr. Mario F Smash has Electric GFX, but has regular on-hit properties. Okay, I like this, because I always missed, Dr. Mario needs to have the electricity. He needs to have the clear F Smash. Like, everyone likes that. But nobody liked the weird hit lag that it would give because it's electricity. But so they made it a little bit more regular, so now there's no difference in those. So that's good. They gave him the clear, but they took away the weirdness of it. And down special tornado, mashing made easier, but maximum height slightly reduced. So overall, this is actually a nerf. This will be a little bit easier to play Mario, but the fact that his max height got reduced is a nerf to Mario. Granted, I think it's right because he did have like a crazy, ridiculous recovery. So NorCal is going to be pretty happy. But all in all, this will be easier for people to pick up Mario and get the maximum height. But since the maximum height is lowered, it'll be a little bit of a nerf for Mario. So Mario, at the end of the day, comes out slight loser, but I still think he's fine. After the changes from the last patch, I think he's fine. Marth, let's see what we got here. Just two changes. Just from what I know from this change is actually the fact that they're making it so that now he can act. This is actually a pretty big buff, if from what I heard earlier is still true. He will actually be able to hit those platforms on PS2 and Battlefield and stuff like that a lot more consistently with Tipper F Smash through the platform. So all in all, I think this is actually a pretty big deal. This could make him actually a lot better on those stages. And down throw, release point, throw animation just to resemble melee. Okay. So all in all, if this is the change I think it is, this is a pretty big buff for Marth. If not, if this is just a visual thing or something, then he stays the same. It is what it is. So Meta Knight, let's see what goes on with the man himself. Up smash, frames between second and third hit, so a little bit easier to escape up smash. It looks like a slight nerf here. Forward air hitboxes to reverse less often. This is just a consistency change. That's good. Forward air reverted to 3.6. Up air reverted to 3.6. So those are two buffs, it looks like. Up throw damage lowered. That's good. It makes it so that he may not get that perfect percent to kill sometimes. Down throw launch angle made a little bit different. Base knockback lowered. Knockback growth upped. Don't know what that's going to change specifically when it comes to down throws interactions, but we'll see. Neutral special spin speed reverted. I guess that makes... I'm not quite sure what that does. It doesn't seem too big of a deal. Side special base knockback of pop-up hit was lowered. So I guess this means that it'll be a little bit harder for Meta Knight to confirm off that because you'll be able to hit the ground and at least he'll have to tech chase you instead of just getting like nair or a scoop up air. So this seems like either a net neutral change or a slight nerf. Up special shuttle loop hit properties reverted. So I guess this is a net buff, I'm assuming. If this is reverted 3.6, I guess this is a net buff. Down special fixed a bug that prevented Meta Knight from activating full cape if he transitioned from air to ground during the cape animation. So it's now, that's a nerf. Other upward facing missing tech roll backwards now matches forward roll. So another nerf because his tech rolls are not that good, so then being more consistent means it's easier to tech chase him. All in all, I think Meta Knight comes out pretty good here. Up throw being nerfed isn't that big a deal when everything else got reverted. Maybe, I don't know if this up smash nerf is that big of a deal. This may not even matter that much, but The rest seems like getting everything reverted is, I would say it's looking pretty good for Meta Knight. I'd say he comes out pretty good. Mewtwo Neutral Air X offset to 2 front hitboxes were lowered, so it looks like the hitbox was shrunk a little bit in terms of horizontal hitbox. Landing hitbox size was lowered 1 unit, and the knockback growths and knockbacks were lowered. This might be actually a slight buff, keeping you closer to Mewtwo might actually be good. But these are 2 slight nerfs, of course. I would say this is an overall nerf, an overall small nerf, but this is nice, keeping him closer to you, making it so you can follow up a little bit easier. So back air tip hitbox size was lowered, and the middle hitbox size was lowered, or was shrunken. So these are 2 nerfs to back air, probably his best move other than teleport and nair, so that's good. Not great for Mewtwo mains, of course, but I think since Mewtwo is already such a strong character, I don't think that's too big of a deal. Up special fall landing lag was upped. This was necessary. He was basically impossible to edge guard because of the fact that his teleport was basically instant and he only had 15 frames of landing lag. Now it's 25, so if he does go into special fall and he lands, it's actually a lot more punishable. This is a good change in my opinion. Tech roll modified to be far less ambiguous, so that's good. I'm down to see what this new tech roll looks like. Buffer hovering out of hit stun consumes double jump frame 1, down from 11. Using hover in any of their instances does not immediately burn double jump. Okay, seems like a net nerf, but makes him a little bit more honest. And fixed a bug that caused hover to automatically terminate if he acted out of aerial ISA. This helps for newer Mewtwo players who are still trying to learn how this works, and they mess it up a few times and may cause themselves to SD. So I'll fix that a little bit. Now, obviously, fewer SDs in general is a slight buff. Of course, I think Mewtwo comes out a slight loser in this patch. He is nerfed a little bit, but I still think he's going to be a great character nonetheless. Fair is still just as good. Up air is still just as good. And Nair is a little bit more easier to follow up out of. Teleport to ledge is still great, and teleport as a recovery is still going to be really, really good regardless. So, all in all, I think Mewtwo is still looking good. Game & Watch. All right, I've been wanting to see these changes, so let's take a look. So, Mr. Game & Watch, attributes, upper and armor lengths are now grabbable. I think this is fine. I think they should have been anyway. So, once again, small nerf, but all in all, I think it comes out fine. I think that's a well-deserved nerf. Jab, innermost hitbox remove. Once again, a nerf he deserved. Should not have been reverse hitting his jabs on you. The fact that they confirm into grab is crazy. The fact that he can face the wrong way, hit you with a reverse jab, and then grab you, and then do his crazy punish game was a little bit too much. I like this. Forward tilt active hit frames modified. Strong hit 10 to 14. Weak hit 15 to 29. I don't know if this changes all that much. Still think it's going to be a pretty damn good move for how safe it is. Up tilt hitbox duration reduced by 5 frames. I think that's good. And the animation being adjusted is the key part here. The animation matching this is going to be important. So all in all, obviously a nerf here, but the animation being adjusted is the key part. Down tilt, grounded hitbox damage lowered, base knockback lowered, and knockback growth raised. So at low percent, it will send you a little bit lower. I don't know if that'll help or hurt his combo game. Obviously the grounded damage is a lot, but is down 2, but I don't know how much this is going to hurt the combo game. This will help when it comes to killing with down tilt, which it already did a damn good job of doing that anyway. So I'm not quite sure. Hitbox shrunk down into 2 smaller hitboxes. This is from the last patch. This is just a nerf to the size. Animation modified so the manhole stops flipping. Also from the last patch, and also a consistent matching of the animation and the hitbox. So good change there. Forward smash. I know the strong hit active frames were lowered, and the sour spot base knockback was lowered. I think making these sour spots a little bit weaker on Game & Watch's moves is a good thing. I think he was rewarded a little bit too much for not hitting the strong hits of his moves, especially when it comes to forward smash and specifically down smash, which we'll get to next. I think those moves were just a little too good on their weak hits, and this will promote Game & Watch's hitting their strong hits a lot more often, and making them a little bit harder to hit, which is fine because Game & Watch is, in my opinion, one of the easiest characters to play in terms of picking him up and just going. So making him a little bit harder to play makes it a little bit, well, I don't think it'll hurt too much at the highest level, but at the lower levels, it will mean requires a little bit more practice to get the most out of Game & Watch, which is what we all really want at the end of the day. Nobody really wants to, say mean things about good Game & Watch players. Shout outs to Pikmon. I know he's angry about this, but shout outs to Pikmon. Love that guy. Ellipses. Love that guy. Nezergy, those guys. I love those guys. Everyone loves those guys. We just, when it comes to people like me who do not like Game & Watch that much, playing against him and think he's a very not super greatly designed character, having him work a little bit harder at the end of the day, I think is good for counterplay and good for the health of the character. So up smash, the damage was lowered and the knockback growth was lowered. Head intangibility and active frames lowered from 5 to 3. I think this is fine. I think this will nerf how easy it is to hit Dacus up smashes and stuff like that, because that's really the big use of up smash right now in the meta is Dacusing and getting follow-ups off that. I think the damage, I mean, these two changes aren't that big a deal. It may kill a little bit later, but a 20 damage up smash is still 20 damage. Holy moly, that's still huge. But the knockback growth going down 5 is going to be a little bit big in terms of how early this move kills. And obviously the active frames going down 2 frames is a big deal. So small nerf, but I think this move is still great. And it's still 100% safe on block. So not really, I don't think this is that big of a deal. It's a nerf, yes, but for a move that's so safe on shield and got you so much of a reward, I think it getting nerfed is right. Down smash, the strong hit-based knockback got lowered, and the weak hit-based knockback got lowered, and the angle is a little bit better. I think this is this is the change that I was really looking for. I think this still looks pretty damn good on, for all intents and purposes. These numbers right here will still make this weak hit really good, just not as ridiculous as it was before. It was really just a gimmick. You would down throw, catch somebody not teching in some scenario, whether it's down throw or just off a random hit, and then you weak hit down smash them and it kills them at 40. So I'm glad that this is getting reworked to be a little bit less obnoxious. Neutral damage lowered and the knockback growth upped, so it will do a little bit less damage. Still 15 damage is a lot of damage, guys. I think we're forgetting how much damage that is. And knockback growth upped, so it'll kill a little bit later, or it'll kill a little bit earlier when it comes to the knockback growth. Looping hitbox damage on back air went from 4 to 3. Base knockback lowered by 10 after the compensation. And the landing hitbox removed. This is the big one right here. So now it is a little bit easier to punish. So many times people try to shield grab this move and they just get hit by the landing hitbox. This also makes the move a little bit less safe on block. Have to space a little bit better, which is perfectly fine. It is already safe if you space it right, so I don't think it's that big a deal. Up air landing hitbox removed is the biggest deal here and can now auto cancel. So this is a buff trying to make up for this. I don't think it's going to fully make up for the landing hitbox being removed. His combo game does get slightly worse because of that being removed. So all in all, a nerf to game watch there. Down air, the frames was upped from 28 to 38. The damage was lowered. So the later hits, it does half the damage, which is doing 14 damage after 28 frames. It's kind of insane. So I think that's fine. Size was lowered, making it easier to contest. That's, once again, perfectly acceptable. I think this move was ridiculously hard to contest before, if not impossible, depending on your character. Now it is a little bit easier to contest while he's in the air. And the shield damage was lowered to 0, which is a big nerf here. I don't know if this was necessary, but that's good. Seeing as the landing hit can poke pretty easily, I think that's honestly not the worst change in the world. Up throw base knockback growth was upped. This may make his combo game a little bit harder off of up throw. And the down throw base, I don't know what big of a change this is going to be for a nerf that throws you straight into the ground. Maybe this just makes teching, maybe the knockback growth being 0 makes teching it more consistent. It always will send you into the ground at the exact same time, no matter what your percent is. It won't go faster or slower. So all in all, I think that's a consistency change. I don't think this is a nerf or buff to Game & Watch in any way. Side special, these are all the same as before. Just a buff to 1 hammer, a nerf to 7 hammer, and a nerf to 9 hammer. I think these are all reasonable changes. Up special, if used within 3 frames of a double jump, your double jump will be preserved. This is good for Game & Watchers who want to use tap jump. This will mean that as long as you press the buttons correctly, you can still get the, you don't have to be frame perfect when wanting to do double jump, up air, nairs. You have a little bit easier access to do that. So Game & Watchers can either now switch from having tap jump off into having tap jump on and using this, or they can keep tap jump off. I'm going to keep tap jump off whenever I play Game & Watch. Not that big a deal, but I know people that do use tap jump, and this can help them a lot. And the tech roll animation modified to be less ambiguous. Big nerf there, making him a lot easier to tech chase. Game Watch comes out. If this could be the biggest loss of the patch notes, he might be the biggest loser of the patch. Big time. He will definitely go down on the tier list. Pretty big for the most part, I think. There's a lot of changes for him. So he'll be hit pretty hard. Ness, weight reverted. This was the biggest complaint I heard about Ness. So good job reverting that. And his power shield ratio is upped. Dash attack, active frames increase. This will make the hitbox easier to hit, meaning that his most inconsistent move can now be hit a little bit easier. It is not super safe on block at all, so making it just consistent when it actually hits is a good thing. Back air damage increased by 1 damage. Not too big of a thing, so, not that big a deal. Special PK fire, 4-frame delay added. This just makes the move a little bit less gimmicky, a little bit less weird to deal with. But all in all, I think net neutral change in all intents and purposes. But there's there is pretty big buffs to the hitbox size. So I think all in all, this might be a slight buff, honestly, to PK Fire. Down special, PSI Magnet can grab out and lag. This is a small buff, but was present in the last patch. Up special, PK Thunder 1 no longer terminates when coming into contact with a hurt box for the first 34 frames. Hit lag multiplier has been reduced to prevent locking someone in place. So this is a slight nerf to PK Thunder 1. And Peak of Thunder 2 intangibility frames granted upon hitting himself lowered from 7 to 3. So he is no longer extremely invincible. When he hits himself, he's only invincible right away. Then if you hit him after that, he is perfectly vulnerable. So small. So I would say this is a slight nerf because of this change right here. But I don't think it's that big a deal because of this change. Might be a little more important than it looks on the surface. So all in all, Ness comes out, I'd say he looks pretty good. I'd say he comes out a slight winner here. So Olimar, Pikmin health was lowered, it looks like. Lowered for most of them, but upped for white Pikmin. So white Pikmin will be a little bit better in terms of their survivability, but and red as well. But yellow, blue, and purple will be lowered, which is purple being this healthy is kind of insane. So that I think that was well deserved. Massachusetts will be happy. Up tilt active frames has been lowered from 7 to 10 to 6 to 9. Oh, it's actually faster now. So it looks like 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 7. So okay, they lowered it. They made it a little bit faster, and the ISA frame was upped. So I think this is a net neutral change. They made it a little bit quicker, but they made the ISA a little bit longer. Forward air for purple Pikmin was lowered, but the knockback growth was raised. Purple Pikmin base, yellow Pikmin forward air base knockback was lowered. So it looks like all the base knockbacks were lowered and the knockback growths were raised. It looks like no knockback growth here was lowered. Knockback growth here was raised. Knockback growth here was raised. Knockback growth here was raised. So the knockback growth of red was lowered, but the knockback growth of the other Pikmin was raised. And the base knockback of all of them has been lowered, which a huge nerf to purple Pikmin when it comes to its base knockback. And yellow Pikmin pretty much got cut in half as well. I don't think the other two got hit that hard. This is all in all, I think it looks like a buff to blue Pikmin, or at least a slight buff to blue Pikmin, but the rest it looks like slight nerfs, especially for red Pikmin. And purple Pikmin, but purple Pikmin did get the better base the knockback growth, so I think all in all purple Pikmin will be a little bit nerfed, especially with this change right here, but this seems not too bad. And then the back air purple Pikmin also looks like the same kind of nerf, same kind of changes made here. Looks like Olimar came out a slight loser here, in all honesty. It looks like he lost a lot, might be slightly weaker. Maybe they thought they overtuned him a little bit. But he's a lot better than he was in 3.6, so if you're coming from that, you will enjoy Olimar because he is a lot better. Pikachu up smash, fixed a bug, okay. Up smash will no longer clanks. I don't know how big that's going to be in terms of Pikachu, but maybe if that causes him to have more priority than on his up special, it makes it a little bit harder to contest, that will be huge. And then the thunder increase, I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal. So Pikachu, slight buff here it looks like, but the rest are not that big a deal. So Pit, let's see Pit's changes. We're getting towards the middle, it looks like. So Pit got his up tilt first hit modified to link more consistently to the second hit. I think this is a good change because his up tilt is a little weirdly inconsistent. I kind of wish they made the hitbox a little bit bigger for up tilt. It seems really, really small. But I think this is fine. This works pretty good. Slight buff there. First active hitbox, so they made it a little bit faster, or push back, so sorry. So it's a little bit slower here, but it links better. So I'd say slight nerf in this, but slight buff here. All in all, net neutral change. Down smash, strong hit was lowered. This is fine for the fact that they changed the angle. I felt like down smash became a little bit too good. It became pretty common for you to just nair into people's shield and down smash because the reward was so hefty. So I think this is fine. Slight nerf there. Back air sword hitboxes now come out 1 frame sooner to match the body hitbox. So that's good. Slight buff to back air. Get up attack and glide special got slight buff. So all in all, slight buff to Pit, slight nerf to his F smash and his down smash, but everything else in here got slightly buffed. Rob's jab. Okay, jab fixed an error on jab 1 to 2 flags that caused certain hitboxes to only hit characters on the ground. Okay. And normalized jab 1 base knockback and jab 2 base knockback. So just made him more consistent. That's always good. Rob is a weird character. Making him more consistent is always good. So Roy for F Smash startup was upped by 1, but took away the reverse hit. So making him more consistent, but making F Smash better. This is a net buff. Down throw, release point, and throw adjusted. The same changes before. Not sure how much is going to change him. Blazer, so up special. If this is what I heard from Lunchables, this should be a net nerf to Blazer. They did reduce the landing lag to 24, which I think is fine if they're actually taking away the hang time from the previous version. This will be a net nerf in total, but the landing lag is slightly trying to make up for that. So I think that's fine. Sorry, I'm getting messages here. And then fix out of place hitbox. Okay, yeah. All in all, I'd say he gets a pretty good buff here. These are all pretty good buffs. The Blazer got nerfed a little bit, but this buff right here is pretty good, as well as the distance being upped by 0.04 units. All right. So Samus forward tilt non-angled variant 2 most outer hitboxes lowered, so it makes it a little bit easier to hit people with it. Forward tilt has arm intangibility. Okay, interesting. Don't know how much that's going to affect that move, but it could be pretty big. Ice down tilt now travels, but doesn't travel off ledges. Just makes it a little bit less janky. Makes it a little bit look a little cleaner because it going off ledges looks kind of weird. And the down special can now transition into crawl. I don't know why there's an extra dot here, but can now transition into crawl. Not a huge buff or anything. So I'd say that this is a slight buff here. This is a slight nerf, but I don't think it's that big a deal. So slight buff to her forward tilt. Not bad. All right, Sheik nerf to her down smash. The late hit damage was lowered and the size was lowered. The dash grab, innermost grab pushed forward, and the middle grab mosh pushed forward. So it looks like her dash grab got better. And the neutral special needles, but also I think this is supposed to take away butt grabs. And neutral special needles restricted to pulling 5 needles. They took away a whole needle. That's crazy, actually. So they just took away a damn needle. Okay. So a slight nerfs all around here. This seems like a nerf to her butt grab, but it might make her dash grab a little bit bigger horizontally. So I don't know. This seems like a net neutral change. It might be a slight buff, but we'll see. But everything else is a nerf, so Sheik getting slightly nerfed here. So Snake, okay, let's see what Snake's getting. Run speed reverted to 3.6. I'm not sure if he got faster or slower, so I'm not quite sure what to say about that. Forward smash, second hit knockback growth was made better, so buff to his F smash. Up smash, mortar round angle. So they lowered the angle and fixed a bug regarding angle control. Okay, so slight buff here, but a slight nerf here. Side special, Trank Dart no longer breaks armor. I think that's a change that it already had, so that's good. Makes it a little bit easier to deal with as like Yoshi, that was a huge deal against Yoshi if he didn't just sweet spot the ledge. Down special C4, the damage was lowered and the base knockback was lowered and the knockback growth was raised. This seems like a slight nerf to C4, just less damage and less base knockback. Oh, will make it a little bit worse, but this not bad knockback growth. This will make it curl a little bit earlier. Up special Cypher, grounded hitboxes, X offset. Aerial body hitbox no longer grows in size on frame 5. Hitbox shrinks after 10 frames and travel 3.25 to 2. Okay, so a slight nerf to up special hitbox. You'll be able to beat it with a lot more stuff. It looks like be a little bit easier to contest. So a slight nerf there. So all around, it looks like he got some net neutral changes here. A nerf to C4, nerf to Trank, and a slight nerf to up smash, but a nerf to buff to his F smash. Can't tell if that run speed is a buff or a nerf. Might be a buff because they might have thought it was a bad idea. And then a nerf to Cypher. So all around, he gets nerfed a little bit more. Sonic attributes, his gravity was raised. Jumps modified to maintain the original height. So gravity, so he seems to be a little bit easier to combo. Falls a little bit faster. Or maybe doesn't fall a little bit faster, but easier to combo is what I mean to say. And neutral special, homing attack, blast attack no longer goes into special fall on whiff with a double jump, but prevents additional usage of blast attack. Without double jump still puts Sonic into special fall. So he can only do this if he keeps his double jump. If he cannot use double jump and then do blast attack. So he must keep it. So it seems like a slight nerf to blast attack. Side special, somersault. First active frame went from 5 to 8, so side special was nerfed a little bit. All repeating hitbox sizes reduced, so slight nerf there to side B. And down B, gravity increased during use, and Sonic is locked out of using aerial footstool for 30 frames after using down special. So it takes away the gimmicky stuff he could use with down special footstool. So big nerfs here to Sonic. Let's see if it actually nerfs him, because he's still a very, very strong character right now. Let's go to Squirtle. All right. Attributes, dash window was lowered, and the increased size of jab, dash attack, fair, backer, crawl, F tilt, both kid attacks, and shell. So he just everything was up by 5%. He was just made bigger, 5% bigger, which from what I know is a pretty big buff for Squirtle in terms of his normals, but he becomes a little bit less gimmickier, which may cause him to lose some things. Sorry, just checking something. Down tilt, first active frame was made a little bit slower. First tech damage was raised. Second hit active frame was lowered. Second hit damage was lowered. So slight nerf to down tilt, it looks like. Neutral air, startup reduced first active frame. So it's a frame 4 nair. Not bad. Pretty big nerf to nair there. Standing grab offset. So they made X. They made standing grab bigger. They made dash grab bigger. And they made pivot grab bigger. So all in all, I think this is pretty big for Squirtle's grab game. And neutral special, now no charge fires 2 sprays, half charge fires 4, and max charge fires 8. Huh. Tell me if this is a big buff or a big nerf or whatever it is. I honestly don't know. All right, so I think Squirtle comes out looking pretty good, actually. Big increase to his size means his hitboxes are a little bit bigger. Small nerf to down tilt, but his nair and grabs being buffed is a big deal. So he comes out a pretty big winner here. Toon Link down air, given new animation to have less disjoint below him. Okay, good. Sword Glow terminates sooner. Hitbox active frames unchanged. Late hit spike damage was lowered. Zair landing lag was upped. I think Zair landing lag should be raised. I think that move is a little bit crazy. All grabs range decreased by 2 units in the active frames. So they buffed its active frames to 7. Sorry, they nerfed its active frame. Sorry. My bad. So they nerfed his grab pretty big. This is a pretty big nerf to his grab. Range decrease and active frame decrease. Up special spin attack. Oh, they did. Oh, but this is a consistency thing. So that's also, you know, slight nerfs here to Toon Link. And then up special spin attack. Aerial only startup was faster. Aerial hitbox angle was made 361. Hitbox modified to stay consistent. And ground final hitbox size increased. So slight buff to his up special, but nerfs to everything else. I would say he comes out a slight loser here. All right, Wario. Let's see what you got. Dash attack. Fixed an error on hitbox flags that prevent certain hitbox from hitting aerial opponents. Slight buff, it looks like. Neutral air. Second hitbox angle was made higher. Late hitbox angle was made 45. Made consistent. So I think this is a slight nerf to the second hit of neutral air, but a consistency change. So I agree. Corkscrew max damage went from 19 to 15. Small nerf here, but it's still going to be a decent get off me recovery. Side special shoulder bash damage scaling reduced. So it is, yeah, so damage on shoulder bash got nerfed when it came to the scaling it gets. So the later hits doesn't do as much, which I think is fine. 18 damage is still a ton, and the knockback is not compensated. So it looks like it's just weaker in every way. So big nerf to side B. And down special waft, half waft charge time increased to 30 seconds, and full waft angle was made worse, which I'm surprised half waft wasn't 30 seconds to begin with, but a slight nerf to his waft, not a huge deal. It's still going to be really, 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 really good, and no nerfs to his bite means he's still going to have crazy, crazy mix-ups when he's underneath you, but all in all, I think these are pretty decent Wario nerfs, to say the least. All right, so we go to Wolf. Jab 1, base knockback normalized, so not bad. Base knockback, or knockback growth was upped. Forward smash initial hit 13%, leg hit flub hit 9%, and sweet spot, the late hit sweet spot does 15%. I think these are just, you know, fixes to his hitbox to make them a little more consistent. So Wolf honestly coming out a big winner, not seeing too many changes here. So I would say he did pretty good. Yoshi back air damage was lowered, knockback compensated. So it's still going to do the same knockback wise, but it'll do a little bit less damage. Active frames on dash grab lowered, thank the Lord, but he can act out of it a little bit quicker. So all in all, net neutral change. I think this is a bigger nerf than this makes up for, but so a slight nerf to dash grab. Numerous ECB changes to make wave landing time more consistent. So this seems like a nice fix for Yoshi. Good quality of life change. All in all, it looks like he gets nerfed, but gets a nice quality of life change. So let's see Zelda. We got just two more characters that I really care about. Zelda, first active frame of jab. So it looks like the same stuff. Oh, end lag of F smash was made a little bit bigger, so they nerfed F smash. Nair final hitbox changed to be one large hitbox, so that's good. Landing hitbox active frames, so there's two landing hitboxes, all right? Or two active frames of the landing hitbox. All right, so a slight buff here. And then up air auto cancel window moved back one frame to no longer be active during the strong hitbox. So she can no longer auto cancel the strong hit of up air. She can only auto cancel the weak hit, which I think is more useful anyway, since that's what you're going to be comboing with. So all in all, I think that's not too bad, but it will hurt when it comes to like doing strong hits like that and getting a ton of damage. Downer sweet spot size increased and active frames 2. So okay, nice. So down air, so now it has 2 active frames for the sweet spot, and the size was made a lot bigger, but the damage was lowered. So all in all, I think this is a pretty big buff actually. Standing grab, first active frame, she's 7-frame grab, pretty nice, but the Y offset was made lower, so she can grab a little bit smaller characters. Big buff to her grab. Dash grab, also a big buff to her dash grab. And dare, fair, bear, hit lag multiplier on sweet spot modified to be a little bit higher. And the GFX overhaul, so that she looks a lot nicer. We saw some pictures of that in the trailer. So I think this is I'd say overall buff to Zelda, of course, but I do think there are some nerfs in here, like the F smash lag right here, and lag being reduced. And the up air nerf right here. The up air auto cancel nerf, I should say. So I think she comes out a small winner here, nothing crazy though. Zero Suit Samus down air now steals properly. I didn't know it didn't. And fixed a big bug on down throw that caused release issues. All whip-based attacks now steal properly. All parts of F smash and up smash now cause properly when charging. Fixed a bug that caused down air bounce and down B not properly hit momentum dead. Knockback. Okay, so all in all, I think this is looking like a Zero Suit neutral changes, it looks like. She's still going to be probably the same. So that is it, everybody. That should be everything. This is Giga Bowser and Wario Man. And then there's new stages here that I don't need to talk about every single new stage. So let's go into the winners and losers here of the final patch of P+, or at least the final patch for now. Let's see who the big winners and big losers are. Bowser, I'd say, comes out looking pretty good. Everyone thought he was going to get nerfed into the ground, and I don't think this does that. I think Bowser's will still be fine, and they should be holding their breath here, because honestly, thought this character was going to get gutted. Captain Falcon coming out pretty neutral here. Nothing crazy. Charizard, big winner. Charizard, big winner. Comes out with a lot of reverts, 3.6. Comes out with a new move that I think is a net buff. So I say Charizard comes out looking pretty good here at the end of this. DDD comes out once again a decent winner here. I don't think he's going to move up too much just because his kit's not all great, but these are good number changes. A lot of number changes here that will make him slightly better. So all in all, decent winner. Diddy Kong also comes out a small winner with some hitbox base knockback and knockback changes and stuff like that that makes him a little bit stronger. All in all, DK, I say, comes out a slight loser in this patch, but not too bad seeing as he gets the grab and the back air buffs and a new down B, of course. So Falco, not too bad, and Fox, both of them coming out pretty good. Will be pretty much the same as before. Ganondorf coming out a pretty big winner here, I think. Some good changes made to his neutral, making his neutral a little bit safer, making him faster, making all that good stuff. So all in all, I think he comes out decent. Don't know if it's going to be the same as when he had the chain grab, but all in all, I think he comes out looking pretty good. Ice Climbers, don't really know what much to say about them here. I'd say they come out pretty neutral, but the Blizzard is pretty nice here, and these changes right here make them a little bit easier to play. All in all, I'd say they might be a little bit more comfortable for Ice Climber players already. So this none of this janky stuff will happen, which is nice. But I don't think these number changes are that big a deal. Ike comes out a small loser. Still has all these great tools for his neutral and punish game, but loses a little bit on his defensive side. So he will be a little bit easier to punish and deal with. So Ike comes out a small loser here on his defense. Ivysaur, I think he comes out perfectly fine. Nothing crazy for Ivysaur. All of these stuff are perfectly acceptable changes for me. Jigglypuff, I would say she comes out a pretty big loser here. I don't think these changes are all that big a deal. She's still going to be in a really rough spot in terms of where she is in the meta. Kirby gets some nice quality of life changes here. I don't think that the down special is that big of a deal. I don't think it's that great. But the up air and up throw are pretty decent buffs. So all in all, not too bad. Link pretty much unchanged. Lucario comes out a slight loser here, except for the neutral special change. This could be a big deal. So we'll see what happens in the future when they lab these out. But all in all, I think, but besides that, pretty big loss here for Lucario. Lucas is the biggest winner of this patch, getting almost all buffs, and they are huge. They are big deals. We get a neutral air hitbox size increase, a jab speed up, a down air, slight down air nerf, but it'll still be great. A side special buff, a up B buff in terms of the reverse ledge grab, and some down special stuff that may actually be more of a buff too. If that is also a pretty big buff, I say Lucas comes out the biggest winner of the patch. If you guys play Lucas or have any interest in playing Lucas, you should start now. These are great changes for Lucas. So Luigi pretty much not changed, and Mario taking a bit of a hit in terms of down special, getting a pretty damn big nerf in terms of people that can already play Mario. So Mario comes out a slight loser here. Marth, if this changes as big as I think it is, he will come out a winner. Meta Knight comes out a pretty big winner for being a top tier, gets a lot of stuff reverted to 3.6, gets some small nerf with up smash and up throw, but nothing crazy. Mewtwo also comes out a small loser here, losing a lot of hitbox sizes, and the up B landing lag increase makes him come out a pretty big loser as well. Mr. Game Watch comes out as the biggest loser of this patch, no questions asked. I still don't think a lot of these changes are unwarranted, but there are so many nerfs here that it is impossible to not say that Mr. Game Watch comes out as the biggest loser of the patch. So right now, I'd say the biggest winner is Lucas, and the biggest loser is Mr. Game Watch, for sure. Ness getting some nice quality of life changes, some stuff that the Ness mains asked for. So, and if this change is big, then that will be a big thing. I think all in all, he comes out a slight winner here. Olimar comes out pretty big loser, actually. Did not expect them to nerf him this hard. He got nerfed harder than Bowser, in my opinion. In all honesty. So, slight lose, a pretty big loss for Olimar. Pikachu, nothing crazy, and Pit gets a slight win here with some slight losses. I say he comes out pretty neutral. Same with Rob, getting some consistency changes. Roy comes out a decent winner here with a F Smash buff and a slight neutral change to Blazer, though it might be a small nerf, but honestly, this F Smash change, this one frame, can actually mean a lot to Roy. I don't think Roy expected to get this. I didn't expect Roy to get this, so we'll take it. Samus gets a small forward tilt buff and this small buff right here, so not too great. Sheik comes out a big loss here. I don't know if this is going to be too big of a deal, but this late damage and taking away one full needle is actually a pretty big deal. So I'm going to say she comes out a decent-sized loser. Snake also comes out at a pretty big loss as well. I'd say Snake is probably the second biggest loser in this patch, right behind Mr. Game & Watch. Sonic also comes out at a pretty big loss as well. I wouldn't probably top 5 in terms of biggest losers of the patch. I still think he's going to be fine just because his kit's that good, but pretty big loss here. Squirtle coming out one of the bigger winners as well. Gets a lot of good changes. A slight nerf to down tilt, but big nerfs to his size. So range on everything, neutral air, and his grabs. Toon Link comes out a big loser as well. It only gets a buffed on one frame and an angle change on his up special, but everything else is a pretty decent nerf to Toon Link that I did not really expect to see. So Toon Link gets a pretty big hit as well. Wario also comes out a pretty big loser here. I don't think it's that big of a deal. His back air is still crazy. His up air is still crazy. And his up B can still do a lot. But all in all, I think this is pretty big changes. Wolf comes out pretty big winner here. The fact that he didn't get too many big changes. He's still going to be extremely strong. If you play Wolf, I think you're in a perfectly good spot. Yoshi gets some big nerfs here. Gets a back air and dash grab nerf. But I still think he's probably where he is in the meta for different reasons. Dash grab, though, is a big deal. Dash grab being changed, but pivot grab is still going to be huge. Just dash grab is going to be a little bit nerfed. Zelda coming out, I'd say slightly better than before, but the up air change is going to hit pretty hard, as well as the F smash lag increased by 6 full frames. But everything else is pretty damn good. Everything else pretty good. And then Zero Suit comes out pretty neutral. So, like I said before, biggest winner of the patch, I think, is Lucas. I think Lucas is the biggest winner of the patch. I don't think anyone got buffed as good as Lucas did, and as effectively, I think. You can argue that Ganon got buffed a little bit more, and some other characters, but I think Lucas comes out the biggest winner of the patch. Biggest losers are Game & Watch, Snake, and Sonic. All really good characters in their own right, and I think they'll still be fine, but they come out as characters that are pretty big losers and going to be a little bit worse. And I'd hope that those changes result in them dropping down the tier list a little bit, but we shall see as things develop. I also think Charizard comes out pretty good at the end of the day, as well as Meta Knight. But that is it, guys. That is the entire patch notes for P+ in terms of the character balance and the gameplay changes. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be doing more guides and stuff later on as time rolls on. But I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I hope you guys learned something today. I will see you guys next time. Signing off.